Good morning, everyone. My apologies for the last minute change in the schedule, but thank you for your flexibility. I'm just going to go over the slides for today's class in this short little video. This is for Tuesday, December 19th. There are the slides posted in the course, of course, as well as lots of videos related to today's lesson. So make sure you check out those videos along with watching this one during the time that you would normally be in class. So as I mentioned yesterday, we're starting to look at the West and how the West is being settled and the impact that that's going to have. One of the big influencers in the development of the West is the railroads. And so that's the whole focus of today's lesson, talking about how it connected the country, as well as changes that it made to business practices. You will want to make sure you have that week 16 study guide out because we'll be looking at questions 4, 5, 6, and 7 throughout this lesson. Again, it's week 16. There is no weekly connection discussion board, so you don't have to worry about that, but you should be continuing to work on your Unit 3 test. That is going to lock tomorrow, so make sure you're getting that turned in. I'm starting the slides out with a quote here, and obviously we can't talk about it, but I did just want to kind of point out the fact that Abraham Lincoln, a quote up there from him, it says, "There is nothing more important before the nation than the building of the railroad to the Pacific." And take note of that date, right? He says that in 1859. That is at the Civil War hasn't started yet, but at that particular point in history, it's going to be starting very soon, right? And so for Lincoln to say, you know, this transcontinental railroad is more important than slavery, right? And the question of slavery, I think, kind of points to the fact that Lincoln understood the importance of getting the country connected, okay, which is what the railroad is going to do. The railroad will be connected, the country will be connected through something called the Transcontinental Railroad. Transcontinental means across the continent. So this is going to be a railroad that, just like it says, goes across the United States. Okay? Now, by the 1860s, there were already railroads to about this point. So if you see on the map here where I'm pointing, railroads already existed to there. There was no railroad, however, that went from, you know, kind of this Midwestern, I don't know, mid-east west, I don't know what you call this, but this portion of the country all the way out to the Pacific coast. And so the goal becomes to build a railroad that will do that, okay, that's going to link the East Coast to the West Coast. So you can ride a train from New York City all the way to California if you choose to do so. So the government approves in 1862, again, during the Civil War, something called the Pacific Railway Act, where the government is going to give money, loans essentially, to the company that will build this railroad, as well as land to these railroad companies. Okay. And again, it's in order to kind of help settle the West, right? To get people out there, to help business, to grow the nation. You know, the government realizes and understands that this is very important to have done, right? If we want to truly achieve our manifest destiny, right, and be this great nation that goes from coast to coast, we have to be connected, okay? So they basically create two teams. One team is called the Union Pacific Company, and they are the blue line. The other team is called the Central Pacific, and they are the red line. And they are essentially going to build towards each other, and eventually they're going to meet at some point. They don't really know exactly what point because it's just going to be, you know, whoever gets there first or whatever point they meet at. If you notice, the blue line is a lot longer. They did build more, the Union Pacific, simply because they're going through the flat grasslands, right? These are the plains, really easy to lay railroad tracks, okay, right? If you're just going through the flat. The Union Pacific, on the other hand, has a few bigger challenges, okay, including the Rocky Mountains, which are sort of in this region, which was very difficult to get through. So they don't go as far of a distance, but their work is more difficult. Okay. So there's a great video in the class. Make sure you check that out. It's a Peanuts video, so be sure you watch that. You can read over this information a bit more on your own. And then for our check-in question here, it says railroad companies would create jobs and connect the country to the expanding West. Because of this, the U.S. government supported the railroad's development by, as I mentioned, providing land and money. Okay? And this is the land. So once they put the railroad through, right, once they lay the tracks, they don't need as much land, because when you're building something, you need land for construction, your equipment to be out. But once the railroad is actually going through, the land that you had and were using you don't need anymore. And so that is the land that the railroad companies are going to advertise to immigrants in other countries to try to encourage them to come and move and buy this land from the railroad. Okay. Now, there's some critics, a little sketchy, because the government gave the railroad these lands, and now the railroad turns around and sells it. Should they have given it back to the government? What should have happened? It wasn't real clear, the plans. So the railroad company owners, looking to make more money, of course, decide to make more profit off of it. Okay. Another major impact that railroads have is that they change the way business happens. The way businesses work today in the United States, corporations, the stock market, all terms that you may have heard before, and we'll get into a lot more detail on in the future, are started because of the railroad companies and the expense of putting in these railroads. Okay, railroads. Actually, I have this on another slide, so we'll wait on this. They also help to settle the West and connect it to the East. Okay. Now you can more quickly and easily transport people and goods. A huge impact. Products can be shipped by train. We see the mail order product business really kick off. Okay, the earliest forms of Amazon, right? All of you probably have used Amazon before. Used to be back at this point in the 1800s, you would get a catalog. Sears Roebuck was one of the first to really do this and have a big catalog. Catalog would be sent out maybe once or twice a year. Everything you could imagine you could order out of there, and it could be shipped to you. And so again, that was the first time that had ever been done. Products can be transported, this is key, more cheaply than they could have been transported on wagons and ships. Okay, they can be transported faster, which helps to cut down costs. You can also put more on a train than you can on a wagon, obviously, okay, or a ship. So you can load more products on, which again helps to cut down the cost of those products. Okay? And just the speed in which they can be shipped leads to lower prices. Okay? Because we've talked about before that a large portion of the price of a product when you buy something, or not a large, but a portion of the price is the shipping, right? And the cost it takes to get that product to you. And so the faster you can do that, the cheaper the product will be. Cities such as Chicago, they become what's known as a railroad hub. This is a place where many different railroad lines would join together. Think of it like if you've ever flown somewhere on an airport, in an airplane. Some airports are kind of what we call hub airports, where you get a connecting flight there, right? So you fly. For me, for example, if I flew from the Wilkes-Barre Airport, which isn't too far from my house, I could go to Philly, and from there I could go to any place in the world, right, on an airplane. Okay, that's kind of what a hub is, right? A railroad hub, right? You would ride that train, or those products would come to a city like Chicago, and from there, you would board another train, or those products would be loaded onto another train to then go somewhere else. Okay, but that makes those cities become more prosperous because there's more activity and people in and out of them. And there's new industries due to the railroads, okay, which I think I also have, yes, on another slide as well. The timber industry, you need wood for the railroads. Oregon and Washington have lots of wood. We can now ship that wood from those northwestern states back to the East Coast. The oil industry, needing fuel for the trains. Cattle ranching, farming, again, those are happening, but the railroads make them more profitable because now you can put your goods, whether it's cattle or wheat or corn, whatever it is you're growing, you could load them onto the trains and then ship them out to be sold. Okay. And then we talked a little bit about gold yesterday as well. So because some of these industries connected directly to the railroads or related to the railroads, something like steel making, which is needed for making the train tracks and the trains themselves, right? They use a lot of steel. They become so large that they change business practices. Okay. This is something that we will talk much more about when we come back from break. But like I mentioned earlier, the railroad companies become corporations. Okay. A corporation is a business that sells stocks. Okay. A stock is a piece of ownership in a company. Okay. I purchase a stock in your company and I give you money to improve your business, to build more railroad tracks, right? Whatever it might be. And in return, if your business does well, I get some of the profit from your business, right? Because of the fact that I own that stock. Okay. The stock market is complicated. It is something that we can review again a little bit on Wednesday if needed. And again, it is something we will talk about later, but it's again this practice is started because of the railroads and the businesses related to railroads that start to become so large. Okay. So some of the railroads' impact on businesses, they connect the country. They also start to create national brands of products. I didn't really mention that. I think it's in one of the videos. They help to create the mail order catalog business, and they establish these forced corporations, which are publicly owned companies, again, that are issuing stock. Okay, so the answer here is all of the above. And last but not least, ever played Monopoly before? I probably did. If you have, you might know that the goal is to have the most money in the end, right? Whoever has the most money at the end of the game, which can take a really long time, is the winner. The game of Monopoly is based on the idea of a business monopoly. Okay? A business monopoly is when one seller or producer dominates the entire market for a particular good or service. Okay, so there's different types of monopolies. We don't have to get into too much detail on that. I will point you to this example here on the left side. So in this example, this company, Ace Meat Industries, they are a meat processing company. Okay? They own every aspect of the meat processing business. Okay, so they have a monopoly over the steaks, right, that are produced in that particular region or state or whatever, because they own all aspects of the meat processing. Okay, you can also have a horizontal monopoly where one company owns all parts of one step. So in this particular example here on the right, one company, right, owns all of the oil processing plants, right? There's refineries that are separate, but only one company is actually selling it out to all of the United States, right, or all of that state or whatever. Okay, that's what a monopoly is. Okay, a monopoly exists when one company controls the making and selling of a product. That is true. An example of a monopoly would be 3 different companies making and selling cell phones. That is false, because if 3 companies are making it, that's not a monopoly. Okay. And last but not least, monopolies usually have a positive impact on the economy and consumers benefit. That is actually false, because when there's monopolies, there isn't competition. And when there's not competition, that leads to higher prices and products that are poorer quality. Okay, that last point is something we will talk about much more in the future, again, when we come back to break and cover monopolies again. Okay, so remember, check out the videos in class, take a look at the slides. I went over them with this video, but make sure you look at them a little more on your own. Tomorrow's a half day, so make sure you come to class early. If you have any questions, please feel free to email. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.